Hello, everyone. My name is Lucas, better known as Lucas Focus, and today we will be doing a photo edit. This will be a full photo edit, and I'll show you how I like to edit my images. And for this particular one, we will be trying to replicate this type of fill. So it looks kind of like a painting, and this is something that I like to do to my images, just give them that little extra touch. And I create all these filters from scratch, and I will show you how you can achieve this effect. And so let's get right into it. Yeah, so our model's name here is Esther, very pretty lady. And what I would do at this moment to get started is to just pick this spot, which the healing brush, and I will remove some of these little spots from her face. We will start with the frequency separation technique, of which some of you might be aware of. And if you are, then I guess you could just skip past this part, but I will show you how I do it. So the first thing I do is I'm going to remove some of the spots, create a new layer, make sure the healing brush is selected, make sure you select current and below from this panel over here, and the blend mode should be on normal. And I will go ahead and change this brush to okay, I'll just leave it like that. So going in, I will sample a spot here by holding down the Option or Alt key and left clicking, and then I will start to paint over the spots that I'd like to get rid of. Do the same thing here, sample, and try to remove some of those spots. I just click once there, sample, do that, make this a little bit smaller, and I'll sample this part, sample that part, sample that part, sample that part, sample and remove, sample and remove. Yeah, so to be honest, you need to be very patient if you want to be able to produce some good work, and this requires a little bit of time, so we will take our time and do as much as we can. This is a full tutorial, so please stay with me, and I hope you do learn something. So what I do is I keep sampling, and I make sure that I'm sampling points that have the same lighting and skin tone as to the as to the point that I want to replace. So I keep doing that. Then here we need this to be a little bit darker to match the skin tone. I keep doing that. So a lot of the spots will be, don't need to worry about the very small ones, because in the frequency separation technique, a lot of these will be taken care of. So I'll start to skip from this moment and just concentrate on the very dark ones and the bigger ones. So that is what I would do here, because some of these spots actually make up for good texture, so we don't want to get rid of those. Yeah, so let's just do a couple more, Okay, for the sake of time, I think I will stop somewhere around here. Yeah, trust me, some of this stuff is like not noticeable. I remember when we took these pictures um, with the model Esther, I really couldn't even notice any of these spots that I'm looking at right now because I guess I'm zoomed in, but I will just do my best to remove some of them. All right, so let's say we are done with removing our spots in the initial phase. The reason I used the new layer here, I'll just name it spot removal. Yeah. So the reason I created a new layer, this is just so if in case I realize I don't like the job that I did and I would like to start over, I could just turn this off and we could come back to our original image. So it's kind of a non-destructive method. I could have done this directly on our main layer here, but I think this is better. So after this point, I will click at the topmost layer, then I will hold Command Option Shift E. I believe that would be Control Alt Shift E on the PC. So I will hold and press all of those together, and what they do here is that they create a merged layer of all the layers below the one I had selected, including the one I had selected. So this is our new main layer now. Okay, so next step is I will just create 2 more layers. The reason I've created 2 more layers is because I just want to keep this first merge just in case I want to come back to it. We'll create a layer here, or we'll rename this layer to color, then we'll rename this one to details. So what will happen here is that the one that says details is the layer that we will hold the details and the texture of the image. Then the one below will only hold the skin tone and colors and light of the image. So this is the beginning of our frequency separation technique by creating these 2 layers. If this was already a smooth image, I probably wouldn't have needed all these other layers below it. We would have just started at this point of having these 2 images. So at the moment, making sure the details is on top, we turn that off, select the color, make sure you're zoomed in to I don't know, like a good amount, I guess, where you can actually see some of the details in the skin. And I'll select filter, come to blur, Gaussian blur, and then here I will take it back down to 0.1, then start to increase it a little bit. I will keep increasing this blur until it reaches to the point where I cannot see the texture anymore. Because this is not a very high quality image, I shot this in JPEG. I like to do that because of I have a very small memory card and I don't have space on my drive. So I'll stop here, try to stop at the exact point at which you start, like you lose most of the texture from the skin. I will click OK, then I will turn on the details layer, make sure it's selected, come to image, select apply image. At this point, make sure you select here on layer, select the color layer, and you will start to see a little bit of that image behind there. Make sure on the blending, subtract is selected, opacity 100%, leave these two here and selected, scale 2, offset 128. There is I guess a scientific reason for why these numbers are. Scale, this is like the largest scale at which you can have the image at, I guess. 128 is the midpoint between 0, which is completely dark, and 255, I think, which is full RGB. I know 128 isn't like the midpoint or between 0 and 250, but in this case 0 is counted as well, so it's the midpoint between between 256. Yeah, I learned that recently on Piximperfect. So yeah, so at this point you can select OK, come back here to the layers panel, select the blending mode and take this down to linear light. At this point we have managed to separate the details, which are in this details layer, and the colors, and them combined, the two combined give us our original image. So right now it looks like all that we have done has amounted to nothing because you don't see any change, but that is because we have managed to successfully separate the details and the color, and so we are able to get the original image but using two different layers. So that is what frequency separation is, and now we can go ahead and start to make this image smoother within the same technique. So I will select the colors, then I'll make a random selection. I say random selection is because right now you see what I'm trying to do. Before I do that, make sure your feathering is 0. Then make a random selection, select and mask. Then I'll come here and select black and white so that I can see this clearly. Then I'll come to feather and I'll start to move this outwards. What I want to get is a smooth transition between black and white, and also I need to put into consideration the quality of my image. So I would say I would leave it somewhere around here. Copy that number or just memorize it, 7.7 pixels. Then I will click cancel, not OK, cancel. Then I'll come back here in the feather and paste that number. Click back on the image, deselect the first selection, and then make a new selection, making sure not to be too close to stuff like eyebrows and the hair. So I will make another selection over here like that. Then I will come back to making sure I'm still select on the color panel layer. I'll come back to filter, Gaussian blur. Oh, please forgive me for that beep. We just lost power, so the inverter just kicked in. Bring this back to 0, and I will start to increase it slowly until I get the smoothness and of the texture that I like. So as you can see, the further I go, the more exaggerated it is, and it starts to destroy the image. So make sure you bring it down to 0.1 and increase it slowly and surely. So I'll leave it at 3 for now. I don't really need this image to be too smooth because I'm zoomed in right now. So I don't want to ruin it. So I'll leave it at that. I like that it still has some texture. Skin is supposed to have texture. So at this moment, I will make a selection from here, this part of a face, avoiding the dark areas. Then it will just be a rough one. I don't really need to do any frequency separation on this image because I don't like my images too smooth, but I'll just do it just for that little light touch of smoothness. So I think I'll leave it at 3.0 as well. Yeah, not much difference. I like this texture. Well, this part is really not that sharp because I shot at f1.8, so mostly the camera focused on the eye, so a lot of these parts are already a little bit blurred out, so I'm okay with that. After that, we can say we are done with our frequency separation. Then I will do what I did before, merge all these layers, Command Option Shift E. That's Control Alt Shift E on PC. So I've made this layer. What I would do next is start to add adjustments. So mostly I use curve adjustments, and what we will start with here is the eyes. So I'll make a curve adjustment, increase that until I see the eyes become a little bit brighter, and then I will rename this to eyes, and then I'll click on that, Control I, Command I on that layer mask, select the brush, make sure I select the white brush, make sure I select the soft edge brush, zoom in, bring this down, making sure the brush selected is white, and then I'll start to reveal some of that there, make that smaller, reveal some of that there as well, and yeah, so that's that first eye. There's the second eye here. Oh, this is something I forgot. I wasn't on 100% opacity, so it means I might have to run this through here again. Yep. Then I will come back here. I'll reduce opacity here because we don't want this eye to be too bright. It's already hidden in the shadows. Yeah, so let's see what that changed. Turn that off, turn that back on, turn that off, back on. Then it's better to also view it at this zoom like stage, and yeah, it's all right, a little bit exaggerated, so I'll bring that down to maybe 80. You know, we don't need it to look too unnatural, like her eyes are glowing. I'll bring that down to about 70, and yeah, that's fine for now. Moving on, I will add another adjustment layer. I will make this one a curves, and I will name this one hair. So what I'm going to do with hair is the same thing I did with the eyes. I will increase this light. I will invert this, Control I, Command I, then choose the white brush. I'll make this bigger. I'll zoom in a little bit. Then I'll I'll reduce the opacity of this. Then I'll start to paint the edges. I just want the edges to pop just a little bit, not too much on this side, because as we can see, the lighting is coming from the left side, so it would be very weird if this right side had too much light going on. So I'll make sure I do that. Already we are starting to see a little bit of some depth where we can see the glowing on the side, and it starts to sink in these edges here. All right, I'll zoom out. Let's see what these changes did. So that is what we have done here. I'll reduce that a little bit. Yeah, something like that. Feel free to play with some of these blend modes, you know. Okay, yeah, I'll just leave it at normal. Moving on, what do we do here? I'll do a little bit of the earring. Yeah, I know I did that here. As you can see, the earring kind of pops out. So I'll try to do that here as well, just a little bit. Just a little bit, just a little bit. So I'll increase this just a little bit. We invert this mask, choose the white brush. I'll bring up the opacity to 100. I'll zoom in, reduce this brush. Then I'll just paint a little bit on this. Sorry, my voice is so low, I feel like I'm talking to the screen. But yeah, just a little bit of that. Let's see what that did. Yeah, I like that. It's very subtle. I think I need to save this at this point. This is the third image. And yeah, I always forget to save. Sometimes I do a whole image and only save towards the end. Before we start to go a little bit further, I've just realized there was a problem here with this fur coat. There was a little bit of a rip here. I think I'll need to take care of this right now before we move further. So I will use the patch tool. Use the patch tool. I will select this part here, making sure I've selected the image. The image should be rasterized, and then I'll just drag this to the part that I want to sample, like that. And we have fixed that problem. We have a little bit of she was wearing a bracelet here. That's, you can't really tell it's a bracelet, it just looks like this weird thing here. So I will get rid of that too. Anything else? No, I think we're good. Okay, coming back to these blend modes, to these adjustments. So this is earring. Another curves layer. This time we are going to do the lips. I will zoom into her lips here. I will increase this, lighten using the curves. Then I will invert it to hide it. Then I'll select the white brush, and then I will start to reveal. Right now I'm not doing this because I want the lips to be brighter. I'm doing this because I just want to really see, to highlight the lips. So as you can see, this looks weird, but that is not our final goal. So I will reduce this. But now we do have a masking layer that masks the lips, so that's a good thing. What I'll do next is get this color balance layer, and I will hover, I'll hold Opt or Option and then hover between this color balance layer and the lips layer and click. What I have done, I've just clipped our color layer to the lips, so whatever I do on the colors will only apply on the lips. And what I'll do here is come to the, I'm gonna zoom in a little bit, come to the shadows, and then start to increase this. I want it to be a little bit reddish, and now that makes purple, so I'll keep this somewhere close to 0, or okay, I'll leave it at 3. I think I'll do the same with the mid tones. just a little bit like that. No, maybe I'll reduce this some more. Okay, so right now I don't want to feel like I need to do too much with one adjustment layer to get the effect that I want. Of course, I want the lips to pop out, but I don't want it to look like they were painted on lips. So I'll leave it at this level. But what I will do is I will add another layer, and this layer will be the levels adjustment layer. Then I will clip it to the color balance layer, which is clipped to the lips. So I am still clipped to the lips at this point. So with this one, I will start to bring this left thin and try to bring it to the right to make that a little bit darker. I'll bring this back to the left to bring in that light. I don't want it to look too dark. And at this point, it's very subtle, so we don't want that to pop up too much. So this is how it looks without. By the way, she already had some so a little bit of lipstick, which is fine. So at this point I can adjust this lips layer to adjust all three layers that are affecting the lips. This is good. I think it goes well with her complexion. The next thing I would do is add another curves for the face. So curves for the face. So I will lighten this up just a little bit. Then I will invert this, and then I will choose the white brush. Opacity is at 100. So here I'd have to be very strategic with what I do. So her cheekbones are a little bit more brighter. So I will paint along that line. This is a soft brush, so 100% intensity at the center. Then it starts to reduce as you go outwards. So I will start to reduce it a little bit now, and then maybe paint just a little bit on the forehead. So basically I'm just going through the parts that already have some light. So I'm just continuing with however the image was shot. I'll reduce this so that I can just paint a little bit on the nose, and yeah, I'll leave it at this point, maybe a little bit of the eye. At this point we have done the face. This is before, after. Let me look at it from here. Before, after. I feel like it's a little bit too much, so I'll reduce the opacity. We don't want it to be too dramatic, just a splash. Yeah. So as you can see, I think this is the point where we can look at how far we've come, and we'll hold Option or Alt and then turn off this layer. And as you can see, we've done so many things, but just to affect the image just a little bit, because we keep building up on it and we have everything in our control. So this is what you want to do. You don't want to completely change the physics of how the image was taken. I am applying light accordingly, following what the original image looked like. Okay, moving on. At this point, I will start to add my filter. So the way I do my filters is, oh my gosh, the neighbor's kids at my window. So the way I do the filters is to add this solid color adjustment. So I have the color code. Where is that color code? I'll pick from my previous edit. So this is the color code. I'll copy that, and then I will use it here. So paste that in there. I think this should be at 20%. Yep. So as you can see, we already have this brownish dark brown effect. The next color codes are easy because they are pure white. So that is the first one. It should be at 5% opacity, and then so I'll just make a duplicate of that. Yeah, so that is our image. As you can see, we're starting to get that. Let's compare. We're starting to get that foggy, misty look. And what I would need to do now is to start to paint over with a black brush on the masking layer. Oh my god. Well, these kids do love my window. So what I will do now, black brush, reduced opacity, something very low, maybe like 10. I will start to bring out the eyes first because I really want the eyes to pop out. So I'll make this brush a little bit smaller and I'll start to paint. Because I'm at 10 opacity, I have more control. I can keep tapping until I get the adjustment that I like. So I keep zooming out to see how that looks. So that's just the eyes. Maybe I'll bring out this eye here a little bit. You have to be aware that when you reveal, when you start to rub off this white foggy layer from the darker areas, it is more visible, the contrast. So you have to be careful to be very subtle. But here where it's brighter, I might need to do a little bit more. So I will do a little bit of this area here above her eye as well, because it has a little bit of the makeup. I do not know what this area is called. So I will do that, then we can view it from here and you can see that now her eye pops out and we can really see it looks less foggy than it did before, or because we've reviewed the eye. Let me turn this mask off and show you the difference. So the image looks completely foggy and looks less foggy. At least the face looks less foggy when we have reviewed the eye a little bit more. I might have done too much on the eye, but let's see how it goes because we are not done yet. So what I will start to do next, the reason I created these two layers is because I wanted more fogginess, but I didn't want it to all be on one image. I'll have to shout over the sound of these kids. I don't have the heart to chase them away. They seem to have a lot of fun around this area, so I'll just let them play. So what I'll do is that I'll go to this next layer and I will start to review more of the face. Make that okay. I'll have to go and ask these kids to be a little bit quiet. Hey guys. All right. I was trying to make them keep quiet without like being heard on this tutorial, so I tried my best. But so I'll reduce this opacity to 5, then I'll start to review a little bit more of the face like that on this other white solid layer. Yeah, so that is what I would do, and then also make sure like I go all the way up to these dark parts here where with the shadows. I want that depth. I want the hair to look like it's closer to us than the face. I want the face to look a little bit lodged into her hair, like her face is sticking out of the hair. So I will zoom in and reduce this brush and start to hide a little bit more of this the white in the shadowy areas so that the shadows become darker. So basically at this point we are painting a little bit of the lips, a little bit here. I want this darker, and let's see what effect this has had. So I will hide, reveal, and you can see we have created some depth. I know this is very long, so this is for the people that would like to get a full tutorial. Mostly I post just a quick overview and I just break down the layers, but today we are doing a full tutorial. So yeah, that's that one. I'd like to bring the eyes out a little bit more, so I'll make this brush larger and I'll tap the eye a little bit more. And yeah, let's see what that looks like. That looks good. So the next focus now is the lips. Remember, I'm still on the same layer. At this point, you could be on either layer because the effect is kind of the same. Unless you wanna reveal it some more, then you might have to do the same thing on both layers. So I'll start to reveal a little bit more of the lips. Let me increase this a little bit so that yeah. So if that's too much, I will undo that up to this level and let's see how that looks. Yeah, I likes that. I likes that. I likes that. Ooh, I did that too much. Sorry, do. Yeah. Yeah. So at this point, I like what I see. We're starting to get closer to our image. Considering like if you're satisfied with what you have at this moment, okay, I will do a little bit more of the hair, reduce this opacity to 10, and then I would darken these parts a little bit more, just a little bit, just a little bit, just this part here should be darker. Going to talk to the kids again. Hey guys, could you please move for a bit to make it international? Sorry. Okay, I had to be the bad guy and tell them to move for a little bit. So I will do a little bit of the shoulder as well. I feel the shoulder should have a little bit more of some shadows. Yeah, so guys, feel free to let me know how you feel about this in the comments. I wish this could have been shorter and faster, but I'm going as fast as I can. Skipping a lot of detail, but yeah, I like my pictures to be a little bit rough and grainy, so this is what we are going for. So after we're satisfied with this, I will merge the layers once more. Control Alt Shift E, that is Command Option Shift E to merge the layers, make this a smart object, and then we will start to do our camera raw. But before we do that, we will duplicate this layer, go to a filter, camera raw, and then I will come straight to this detail tab and I will increase this to about 90. So in case you don't know what's happening, I will zoom in. This is before we added the sharpening, and this is as we increase the sharpness. I don't know if you can see the difference of this video, but there is some difference. And I know this number 90 because I did try this before with these other images and it seemed to work. And I like how it's bringing out all this texture, which is good. I love the texture, it's a grainy texture. And then I will zoom out and see to make sure that the sharpness isn't too much. We still have our softness all around because I shot at a low depth of field, f1.8 on an 85 millimeter. Yeah, so at this point, I don't think I did anything else. I will commit to these changes, press OK. Then what we're going to do here is add a mask. And then we're going to hide this. That's Command I, Option I. Control I. Select the white brush. This time opacity 100. Because all I want is her face to be visible. Sorry, white brush. So I will paint here and review her face. Make sure it is super sharp. Maybe I'll do a little bit of the shoulders as well. But yeah, I want her face to be super sharp. And so what we have now is this: off, on, off, on. Let me zoom in. Off, you can see it's a little bit blurry. Then on, sharper. We want the face to be sharp. And let's do a comparison. Yep. We are getting so close to the end. Okay, so let's see what next. So what we do next is that we are going to merge these layers one more time. That is Control Option Shift E, Command Alt Shift E. Make this into I will make this into a smart object. Yeah, sorry guys, I am losing my mind. I can't help but listen to the kids in the background, and I think they are back, which is usually what happens. You tell them to leave and they come back. There's a tree right outside my window, and so they like to play under the shade, but who could blame them? It's been very hot these days, so let's go. So smart object, we'll go to our filter, camera raw filters. Oops, I was on the wrong layer, so make sure the layer is selected. Camera raw filter. What I want to do now is what a lot of people, I guess, don't like to do, is to actually make your image grainier. So at this point, I will zoom in. I need to see this as close as I can so that I don't overdo it. So I will stop at 20. So as you can see, I've added a lot of grain to this image. And let's look at it at this level, and it looks good. You can't really notice it that much, but it's there. I'll click OK. Make sure you have a masking layer here. Select black. And then at this point, I will start to paint at a low opacity, maybe 10. And I don't want the grain to fill up the face. So I'll start to paint that out. Because I'm at 10, it means I have to click a couple of more times to really hide that. So I want it to have a gradual fade. I don't want it to fade like all of a sudden. So that's why I'm using the soft brush, and that's why I keep clicking and reducing its size so that we have that gradual phase from the face. Because if we do not have a gradual phase, it's going to look really weird. It will look very poorly done. So at this point, we have our grain. I will save that. I haven't saved in like 100 clicks. At this point, I will do one more merge. I will not say what the keys are. I think we know by now. Command Option Shift E, smart object. And then this time, because I want to, post these images as a series. So the one thing I found to be hard is to match the final lighting, because originally some of them were a little bit darker than the others. So what I want to do right now is just add a little bit of that warm glow. So I'll just increase the warmth just a little bit up to 5. Then I will increase the vibrance just a little bit, maybe up to 10. Let's see the before and after. Before, after. I like that. I really, really like that. And yeah, there we have another image added to the collection that looks so good. I will come back to, there's a couple of things I feel I like the fogginess of the previous image, so let's see if we can do that here. Maybe reduce shadows. No. Maybe come over here. Nope, undo that. Yeah, I'll just do some slight changes. But at this point, increase the white. No, maybe just reduce the shadows is my best option right now. Well, at this point, you just have to follow through and see what effect did this have. I think I'll just leave it as it is. I'll just leave it as it is. Save. Yeah, so this is our image. Let's do a comparison from before to after. So this is before, before, after. Zoom that in a little bit. Before, after. And we have managed to do this in about 47 minutes. First time takes longer because I don't really know what view I'll have to go with. So this was my first image. I loved it. Second image, loved it. Made it a little bit warmer. So I'll have to come back to this and make it a little bit warmer. By the third image, I'm able to replicate all my steps. And of course, they will not look exactly the same, but that just depends on how much time you have. So we are done. Let me just drag my logo from here, holding shift so that it places the same exact spot. And there we have it. Thank you very much for joining me on this tutorial. If you look forward to more tutorials, please let me know down in the comments. Please don't forget to share this with any of your friends that would like to learn how I do my images at least. And then don't forget to like it. You can follow my pages on Facebook, that is Focus Photography on Facebook. You can follow me on Instagram, that's Lucas Focus. Yeah, thanks for watching.